2.5 is all about if-then statements and deductive reasoning. So I already told you there's a lot of writing today. It'll feel kind of like an English class, but it's not anything that's super outlandishly challenging, so I think you'll be just fine. All right, let me shorten this up for you. How about just write this part. And then just write this part. So write number 1 and number 4. The other two, that definition is already included in number 1, so you don't really need to write it twice.
Excuse me, I don't...
All right, so first vocabulary term is an if-then statement. It's a 2-part statement. We call the if part, the part that comes right after the word if, that's the hypothesis. You might want to underline that part. And then whatever comes after the then, we call that the conclusion. So an example would be like, if it's cold, so it is cold would be our hypothesis, then I will wear a coat. I will wear a coat would be the conclusion. Okay? And then down to the last one, deductive reasoning is using facts, definitions, accepted properties, and laws of logic to make logical arguments. So it's basically the process we're going to follow today. We're going to use rules we already know, background knowledge. I'm going to show you some laws of logic, and we're going to put it all together and write some if-then statements. All right, so in this statement, I just want to label the 2 parts. If I pass the driving test, do you guys remember what the first part of these statements is called? The hypothesis or the conclusion? Hypothesis. And it does not include the word if. So start after the word if, everything else, that's the hypothesis. Okay? Then I will get my driver's license. I will get my driver's license is the... What's the second part called? Conclusion. Good. Any questions so far? All right, so we're going to rewrite these as an if-then statement. I want you to pick one. Pick any one that you want. Do it with me, okay? I'm going to do all 3 of them. So every duck on the pond is hungry. So if is how you start these. So every duck on the pond is hungry. So what happens first? A duck gets hungry or he goes to the pond?
What? If he goes to the pond, he gets hungry. If the duck is hungry, he goes to the pond.
I feel like it's if the duck is hungry, then he goes to the pond. But I feel like you could make an argument either way on that.
Duck on the pond is hungry.
So if a duck is on the pond, then he's hungry. I can go with that. So if
I don't even know what I'm doing now.
you did it.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. I think that's actually the correct way.
I don't know, so.
Because it's not like every hungry duck in the whole world is on the pond. So, but again, some of these take a second. I even question them myself. So if you wrote that one in your notes, you can just chill for the next 2. If you didn't write that one, pick another one as we're doing it. Just write it. I will go running if it does not rain, snow, whatever, precipitation. If, so what comes first? If it does not snow,
Oh, so you just changed it already.
then I will go running.
Why are we writing off? This is English.
Part C, I gave you the warning like 3 times. This will feel like an English class today. It's part of geometry, is logic. That's just, it's part of the game. I will buy this CD if it costs less than $15. So if
the CD costs less than 15.
yes, so this is one where you kind of switch the wording around. You usually don't say like if it's less than if you haven't established what the it is. So it makes the most sense if you say if the CD is less than $15, then I will buy it. So again, I don't think you need 100 of these in your notes, but pick one, go with it. Do you guys have any questions? So these are the two laws of logic we're going to look at in this class. Boys, you okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first one is called the law of detachment. It says that if the hypothesis part of the statement is true, the conclusion part is also true. So basically it just follows the argument. For the last one, if it does not snow, I will go running. So if you look outside and it's not snowing, you can conclude that that person went running. That's all this is saying, is that if the first part's true, the second part's true. Basically, they're not lying to you.
Well, what if they are lying to you?
Then it wouldn't be a correct if-then statement.
What if that person didn't actually go running?
That's what I'm saying. Then they would be breaking the law of detachment.
What?
I know. Okay, the law of syllogism is a little bit harder.
What?
So the law of syllogism, and we'll look at a real life example next, but it says basically you have 3 statements. So if the first statement happens, then the second statement happens. And if the second statement happens, then the third statement happens. It's basically saying you can skip the one in the middle. So let's use the running one. If it does not rain, then I will go running. And then the next statement would say like, if I go running, then I will get a workout in. So this law says that you can skip that repeating part. You could just say, if it does not snow, I will get my workout in. So you can skip the repeater. We'll look at a few of those, but that one's a little more advanced. It's not so, it doesn't flow as naturally as the law of detachment. So we'll look at both of these. As promised, you can just sit back and relax, okay? Remember I said, if you write this slide, then you can be done. See that? Yeah. All right, so this basically says which one of these, thank you, which one of these follows the law of detachment. So if 2 angles form a linear pair, then they're supplementary. Angle 3 and angle 4 do form a linear pair, so those angles are supplementary. Does that make sense, or does part B make sense? If 2 angles form a linear pair, then they're supplementary. Angle 3 and angle 4 are supplementary, so they form a linear pair. Which one follows the law of detachment more clearly? It follows the correct order of the argument. It's a linear pair, then they're supplementary. So does that happen in part A or part B? If they form a linear pair, then they're supplementary. Hey, these guys are a linear pair, they're supplementary. Does that follow the correct order, or does this one? If they're a linear pair, they're supplementary. Oh, they are supplementary. So they're a linear pair. Do you see how this one tries to use the argument backwards? That's not allowed. You have to follow in the proper order. So this is the correct one. It's a lot of wordiness, but you just kind of have to map it out a little bit. All right. Now, this is the one that follows the law of syllogism. So this is where you can just cut out the repeating part in the middle. So this says, if Sarah saves enough money, she can buy a concert ticket. If she buys a concert ticket, then she will see her favorite band. So we want to go straight from the beginning. So if Sarah, and you don't need to write this, just sort of listen. So if Sarah saves enough money, what's the ending of the story? If she saves enough money, then what?
Then she could buy a ticket.
We're skipping that part. If she saves enough money, she'll buy a concert ticket. If she buys a concert ticket, she'll see her favorite band. Skip out the boring middle, get right to the end of the story. If she saves enough money,
She can see her favorite.
she can see her favorite band. So basically, you're just cutting out the part that's repeating. You're getting right to the meat and bones of the story. So get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of where it says it again. Here's the beginning, here's the end. Any questions? All right, here's one more, and then I think we'll be good for the day. Yes? No, these are your notes. You guys will have homework as well.
No, like, is the homework like?
Yes, the homework is like this. So number 5, if the ball is thrown in the window, it will hit the window. If the ball hits the window will break. Very good. So if the ball is thrown at the window, skip that, then the window will break. I'm not even going to write it since you guys aren't writing it. But you're basically just going, you know when someone's telling like a long, boring story and they keep repeating and repeating and repeating? You're just cutting all that out. If this happens, go all the way to the bottom. This is going to happen. Any questions? All right. What did we learn about today?
We learned about
If-then statements. Good. You could also put laws of logic if you want. Now, I am going to ask you to get another sheet of paper out for your homework tonight. If you don't have one, I have blank extra papers you can use the back of, but there is not enough room on this worksheet to write it all out, okay?